All right. Hi, Lauren. Okay. Okay, awesome. Hi, you guys. Come on in. I might have to get more chairs upstairs, so just come on in and hang tight. Okay, we're recording. Oh, hi, Ruth. Hey, okay, well, hey, everybody. It's so good to have you here. There are a few new faces, so I'll just introduce myself really quickly. My name's Amy Glenn, and this is my house. I'm a Blue Diamond in dōTERRA, and I've been using dōTERRA for about 7 years, 6.5, 7 years, and I love it. Just really quickly, because I know we have some people on the web too that don't know me, I just want to just really quick background. I'm actually a musician. I'm a pianist, and my husband's an opera singer, and we got into oils kind of accidentally as kind of a last resort to help him heal from a vocal injury. And I was recovering from a car accident, and we started using oils, and we just fell in love with them immediately. And we were sharing with them all of our friends and all of our musicians, and I just naturally fell into the business because I couldn't stop sharing. and here we are today. Tonight we are going to hear from Dr. Christine Perkins, who is a naturopath here in Scenic Acres, right? The office? Arbor Lake, sorry. and this is going to be an amazing class. It's Life on Vitality in the 30-day cleanse. And just a really quick shout out from my personal experience. When I started using oils, I knew they worked and I loved them. On Guard was the first one. Breathe was right up there, and I knew that I loved oils. But my dramatic experience actually was with Lifelong Vitality. So at the time, I was in a car accident when we were living in San Francisco, and I had been trying to recover and get to a place where I could actually experience a pain-free day. It was 2.5 years, and I had gone to chiro, massage, cupping, acupuncture, physio. I did everything weekly for 2.5 years, still no pain-free day until I got on Lifelong Vitality. And it was dramatic. Like, if any of you have experienced chronic pain and then all of a sudden that pain starts to lift, it's just life-changing. And that's what Lifelong Vitality was for me. It was huge. That and Deep Blue Rub also was a huge factor. I also have a huge, wonderful experience with the cleansing. And this is really impactful, not just for me, but my personal family. We have a lot of autoimmunes in our family, unfortunately. My mom has MS, and we have some psoriatic arthritis and some rheumatoid arthritis, and not super fun things that you want to have, right? But the cleanse, when we have done the cleanse on a regular basis, has just been such a huge game changer and has really, really helped increase energy, decrease inflammation, and just put us into our body into a happier place. So anyway, tonight we get to hear from Dr. Christine Perkins, and I'm so excited. She is a wealth of knowledge, and I'll let her introduce herself. But that's tonight, and I'm so glad you guys are here. Bathrooms right here. If this one's taken upstairs, if you just go up the stairs and to your left, the very first door to your left is also a bathroom. All right? Okay. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see so many people on this very cold night, right? When you could be at home watching your screens. I feel very honored that you share this time with me to learn about Lifelong Vitality and the dōTERRA cleansing kit. So who takes Lifelong Vitality in the room here? That's nice to see, and whoever isn't will be probably at the end of the class. It's one of my favorite supplements that I prescribe to almost every patient, and the reason that I would hesitate with some patients is just that I need to ease them into supplements. I see patients as a naturopathic doctor that have seen 20 naturopaths, and I'm the last one that they come to see, and I've seen people who've never seen a naturopath before, and they're new to the idea of supplements and even eating something different than a standard American diet. So sometimes I ease my patients in, and eventually everyone is taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack quite successfully. So it is what I take, and I get asked that as well. What does the doctor take? People want to take what the doctor takes, and so that is the supplement that I take. And I have a very similar history in terms of response to Lifelong Vitality that Amy has, or what she talked about, and I also see it on a daily basis with my patients. They report everything from better hair and better nails to better energy to better sleep quality, less aches and pains, It is safe for autoimmune patients to take, which is sometimes unusual for us to be able to find supplements for autoimmune patients to take that won't overstimulate their immune systems. And it's also safe for pregnant women to take all throughout, from the very beginning throughout pregnancy, which is also unusual to find something that we can do. It's very broad, it's very targeted, which is also different. Usually if I have something that is a broad spectrum multivitamin and mineral, it's not what I would call targeted. But because these supplements have been formulated in a certain way, they target our cells for cellular health. They target us with antioxidants, which are what we need to prevent disease and illness happening at a cellular level. And so maybe we'll just start, I'm going to start with Lifelong Vitality. We'll talk about the cleanse after, because Lifelong Vitality Pack, even though you guys were given this sheet today, which I'm sure Amy will have online, accessible for anybody who's online. This is the cleanse that we'll talk about tonight, but it doesn't include Lifelong Vitality on it. And I would say Lifelong Vitality Pack is part of the cleanse, and it's sort of, it's not optional, it's part of your daily, should be what you're doing daily and what you would add to a cleanse. I might have a problem with the screen. Someone may want to come and help me technically. If someone can tell Amy, the screen has just gone like blank, and I just don't want anybody to miss anything. Technically challenged.
I think
Maybe
you're still going.
Oh, it's because
One
you're
right there, and it says it's recording. It just says that someone has started sharing.
Okay, you're
right there.
Thank you. We'll just keep going then. Unless it completely shuts off.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lifelong Vitality Pack, we'll start with the Microplex DMZ. This is your basic multivitamin and mineral that supplement that is pretty much required by everyone in today's day and age, because our food chain has been contaminated and contains at least 50% less nutrition than it did in the 1950s. So since the 1950s, scientists have been evaluating what vitamins and minerals and micronutrients are in fruits and vegetables, and we now know that 60 some odd years later, we have less than half. Are we okay, Amy?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. We have less than 50% of the nutritional value in a carrot today than existed back then. Same thing with potatoes. Like, potatoes used to be what were technically considered a good source of vitamin C. Vitamin C is a vitamin that we don't make. And we require, so we have to get it from an outside source. And potatoes now have no vitamin C in them. So part of this is our modern agricultural practices, that we overfarm the same land. Part of it is the hydroponics that we use, which is we grow tomatoes, hothouse. Anything you see hothouse has basically been grown in a brine, in a greenhouse. And the chemical composition of that brine is the same all the time, day in, day out, and it's chemically composed, it's added to the water, and then the plant absorbs that and it grows a fruit. But it's not from a diverse soil. It's not from soils that have had manure added or been eroded by the sun and wind and churned. And so we have actually changed how our food, what it contains over the last 50 to 60 years because of these practices. And also, I probably could throw in genetic modification, and I could probably throw in the use of pesticides and herbicides and multiple other things. Our demand for micronutrients is huge nowadays because of these burdens and the stress we live in, and we have less coming to us. So everyone requires some form of dietary supplementation. And in the Lifelong Vitality Pack, this one is perfectly formulated. So, I was going to bring my glasses out, but I'm getting to that age where I'd have to pull it back this far. And anyways, we have everything that we need. Fat soluble, I'll be fine. No, I totally agree. It's 1.5. Everyone's helping. I'm really good. It's breastfeeding. What I want to point out, if you guys ever do look on the back of your bottles, you have a lot of chelated minerals here. So the way that dōTERRA has formulated minerals are not very easily absorbed. For instance, magnesium is about 4% absorbed overall, no matter what you take. And there are different forms of magnesium. This is just an example. Magnesium oxide is a complete laxative. If you take magnesium oxide, you will have loose stools and you will absorb none of it. If you take magnesium citrate, has mild laxative effect. In fact, there's a product called Naturally Calm that a lot of my patients like to take. It's kind of a fizzy, effervescent magnesium supplement. That will partially be absorbed, but again, loosens people's stools. Then we have magnesium chelate that is chelated to an amino acid, which is better absorbed, which is what doTERRA does. And then there's magnesium bisglycinate, which is very, very highly absorbed. Not necessarily the type that was used here, but what was used in the Vitality Pack is highly absorbed as well. So it depends on the type, and it also depends on how it's linked to certain its bioavailability. So doTERRA's worked very hard to make sure that the minerals and the vitamins in these supplements are bioavailable. So everything from selenium, which boosts your immune system, and zinc, which boosts your immune system and helps with skin and probably over 400 different chemical reactions in the body. You've also got your magnesium in here as the citrate and ascorbate. So again, it's absorbed, it's absorbable, and it can have a little bit of a loosening with the bowel effect depending on the person. You've got a little bit of calcium in here too, and not too much, which I like about this product as well. We're a very over-calcified society. We've been taking way too much calcium for far too long in the wrong sources. So calcium carbonate, for instance, which is not in here, is a source of calcium that's derived from stone, and we don't absorb it very well, and when we do, it gets plaqued out in the arteries, it gets plaqued out in the kidneys, it gets plaqued out in the gallbladder, and we're seeing more and more people develop kidney stones, gallbladder stones, and then also hardening of the arteries. So we don't want too much calcium, but we have enough that's in here. And also calcium from milk. Do you guys still think, anybody in the room drink milk and think dairy is the good source of calcium? It's a total misnomer. It amazes me that the Dairy Board has for so long been able to get away with the claims that it makes that dairy is a good source of calcium. And I suppose it's not really a lie because it has calcium in it. It's just not bioavailable. So the idea that you're supposed to drink your glass of milk and do that while you're pregnant and grow strong bones for your baby and then give it to your children, it's actually very detrimental to our health. It's full of phosphates that bind to the calcium and we flush it out. It's very acid forming. Most of us, by the time we're 2.5 years old, don't have the enzyme to digest lactose, so we become lactose intolerant. It's very mucus forming. It traps bad bacteria in our guts. It's really not a fantastic product. Now, if it was raw, it came right out of the cow, I might have a different feeling on that, but that's pretty difficult to get in Canada. So we've sort of, again, I hope what you're hearing is some of the things we've been told about diet and supplementing and not needing supplements because our diets should have everything in it that we should require is sort of a misnomer, and it isn't necessarily true. Everyone, in my opinion, requires some sort of supplementation to their diets and modification to their diets because the standard American diet is not necessarily healthy for everyone. Thank you. I'll look at that later. That's awesome. So that's the multivitamin and mineral. We also have a vegetable extract in here. And I was trying to find, Amy, I don't know if you can help me with this, but I thought I heard at convention that there's 12 servings of vegetables used to produce the vitamin or the vegetable extract in here.
Oh, I don't know, but I can find out.
Yeah, and I tried to find it and I couldn't find the slide that I was looking for. So you might have it.
I have my notes for convention.
See if you've written it down because, so I don't know how many servings of vegetables, but there is a vegetable extract in here. So you're getting quite when you do that, you actually kind of trick the body as well into thinking, oh, this is just really super ramped up food. It's really easy to absorb. So it's already absorbing the vegetable extract and it quickly and easily will absorb the vitamins and minerals that are provided in here. Plus, I would recommend, and I believe there's enzymes in here as well, which also helps, yes, with the absorption. And you've also got the tummy tamer blend in here because some people find taking vitamins and minerals are hard on their stomachs. They feel a little nauseated. Zinc tends to do that. Is it 12?
12 plus servings of fruits and vegetables. That's what they said it.
Yeah. Thank you for confirming that for me. So that's actually quite good. We're supposed to get
the entire bottle
in your no per serving.
Per serving. Oh,
per serving. Yeah. So you're actually getting your serving of 10 vegetables and fruits per day in your capsules. Now, nothing substitutes a good diet, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say take this and don't eat your vegetables. Eat your vegetables and top it up and have a good insurance policy for the days that you don't eat so well. Because we all have those. I mean, Christmas just happened and here we are in the new year, and that's why we're talking about the cleanse. And that's because all of us overindulged and all of us don't eat, perfect at different times of our lives. And I think in North America especially, we're more challenged because almost every month we have a celebration of some point. We have, Christmas and then New Year's, and then we go into Valentine's Day, which we've made a big chocolate fest. Then we go into Easter, which is another big chocolate fest. And then we go into, we might not have something, Mother's Day and the Canada Day long weekend, the May 2-4 long weekend. Then we go into Canada Day, the banker's holiday in August. Like all these barbecues happen, and usually something sweet is done at a barbecue. Stampede, thank you. How could I forget that? We have like a week long of debauchery, and we eat all these deep fried things from Stampede, and then we go into Labor Day, and then Thanksgiving, and then Halloween, and then we hit Christmas again. So almost, and this isn't counting anybody's birthdays, right? Throw a birthday in there and someone else's birthday and or a wedding. It's just there's this constant bombardment of sort of bad processed food that we consume. So our need on our bodies for these detoxifying factors, for these vitamins and minerals to be in balance, to give our bodies the chance to detoxify and be in balance, we have a higher demand, we have a lower supply, and so we all need to have these supplements in our lives. So next would be the E-Omega. So I love this product because it's a blend of both fish, like marine, and phyto essential fatty acids. It's a great blend of EFAs. We all need EFAs. I mean, I think this has been known for a very long time. Essential fatty acids are anti-inflammatory, and most disease nowadays is being linked to inflammation. So if we can bring inflammation down, that's important. Our brains, one of the biggest things that most of us are concerned over these days is our brain fog, which could be related to needing a cleanse as well. But oftentimes cognitive function is really important to us. Our brains they love fat and fatty acids, so this helps with brain function and cognition and memory and prevention of Alzheimer's. So very important to get our EFAs. And essential fatty acids we just don't eat them well balanced. Like we need omega-3, 6, and 9. Most of us get too much 6 and enough 9, and then omega-3s, which are EPA and DHA, which are in here, are the ones that we don't get enough of. And fish is a common source of it. When we have the plant source here, it's been concentrated, but we can't eat enough of the vegetable sources to get that. So this, again, has to be supplemented for us. And fish, for most people trying to stay healthy, try not to eat too much fish nowadays because the fish is contaminated with heavy metals. So we don't eat enough fish to supplement. You can still have fish, but this is a nice top up for that. And alpha CRS. So this is one of my other favorite. This is probably my favorite of all of the Lifelong Vitality Pack. So yeah, this is the gives you everything you need at a cellular level to produce great energy and to detoxify and have anti-inflammation. So it combines everything in a high enough dosage, which is another reason that I love these products. I get approached by all sorts of different companies, and some of them even formulated by naturopathic doctors. And the supplement values, like how much of them are in it, are minimal, and they won't do anything for you. And you need therapeutic dosages of these vitamins and minerals. And dōTERRA has done that, especially in the alpha CRS. So you have frankincense in here as the resin, not the oil, so as the resin. And frankincense is a very potent anti-inflammatory. So this is part of what it has in here. Scutellaria is another, it's called skullcap. It actually helps with your nervous system to be calm. It stimulates the GABA receptors in your brain, which is sort of like the natural way to, it's what, I don't know if everybody's heard of Ativan, but there's a drug called Ativan that calms people down. It works on GABA, so basically you're using a natural way to activate your GABA receptors and feel a lot calmer. So this is a great way to engage the nervous system to calm down, and then we have less inflammation, and it actually is anti-inflammatory as well. Milk thistle, which is going to help your liver to process toxins and be anti-inflammatory. The polygonium is actually where we get the resveratrol from, another potent anti-inflammatory. So it's loaded with polyphenols. In each of these are basically what we call polyphenols, plant extracts that are anti-inflammatory in a nutshell. Pomegranate is the same. Pineapple or bromelain is like an enzyme that when we take enzymes on an empty stomach, they get into our bloodstream and they gobble up the inflammation in our bodies. So having this in here is going to help. When you absorb it, it's going to actually act like a Pac-Man in your bloodstream, kind of gobbling up the inflammation that's there. Most people know about turmeric or curcumin is also powerful anti-inflammatory. Grapeseed extract is the same, sesame seed extract and pine bark extract, which is pycnogenol. They're all potent anti-inflammatories. And then we get into the cellular vitality part of this. So 100 milligrams of acetyl L-carnitine is amazing. It helps shuttle fatty acids into the cells that then the mitochondria inside the cells can burn and make energy. So 20 years ago, if I did this talk and talked about mitochondria, most people had never heard of a mitochondria and didn't know what mitochondrial health was or mitochondrial energy, whereas most people, when I do these talks now, have heard of mitochondria and how important they are to our health. So we've got targeted nutrition in the alpha CRS and therapeutic dosages that go right to the mitochondria that deliver the energy, the cofactors that make the energy to the mitochondria, so that we can get better energy, which I think is why Amy would have felt better energy on Lifelong Vitality Pack. So, and aside from that, you're protecting your DNA. Your DNA is in those cells as well. And we know that DNA protection is really important for anti-aging. Most of us want to age gracefully. And it also prevents, when our DNA is healthy, we're surrounded by a healthy environment full of antioxidants, full of these cofactors, it's less likely to turn on bad genes. So something like the breast cancer gene, we know that only 1/3 of the women that have the breast cancer gene will develop breast cancer. It's not a given that just because you have a gene that you're going to actually get the disease that it could trigger. So what are those other 2/3 of those women doing that don't get breast cancer? And we don't know all the answers, but one of the things we know is that when the gene itself, it's called the epigenetics, when the gene is surrounded by healthy cofactors, the DNA is stable and we don't get these bad genes being tripped or turned on. So aside from having good energy, this is protective medicine against things like cancer. And it's balancing to your immune system. It's dealing with all of these toxins in your body and helping you to flush them out and detoxify from them. Coenzyme alpha-lipoic acid, again, in 100 milligram dosage. I give this to people to affect their blood sugar. 100 milligrams can actually bring someone's diabetes, if it's a mild case of diabetes, back into check. Like their blood sugars can come back into balance. So, if someone actually gets onto this product and they've had high blood sugars and they feel a little spacey and you recommended this product for them, it's more than likely because their blood sugars are coming back into balance, and they actually should check their blood sugar and go back to their doctor and find out if they need as much insulin or need as much metformin or these oral hypoglycemics to see if they actually need them anymore, because they might not. So that's alpha-lipoic acid. It's also potent anti-inflammatory, but it also works quite well, an antioxidant. It works quite well in helping the mitochondria to produce energy. Coenzyme Q10 helps your cardiovascular system. Most of us are deficient in CoQ10. High blood pressure is a huge issue, like cardiovascular disease, and this treats that as well. Quercetin is a bioflavonoid, and then which is anti-inflammatory, and well, bioflavonoids have a lot of different effects, and it helps with airways. It helps with your immune system. Ginkgo will help your cognitive function, anti-aging, anti-Alzheimer's, delivers blood to the brain. We can all use more of that, and then the tummy tamer blend. So a really potent, targeted way to get the nutrients that your cells need to make good energy and detoxify in one bottle in therapeutic dosages. Some of the supplements that I get shown from naturopathic doctors or other companies, I have to piecemeal things together and take this and that and a dozen other things. dōTERRA's done a wonderful job at putting it all together and making it available in 3 little supplements. Your Lifelong Vitality Pack. So I'm going to move on to the cleanse in just a sec, but I want to pause and see if anyone has any questions about Lifelong Vitality, if they've used it and not been sure about something, or if they have any questions.
I have a question. My son has really bad nutrition. Like he eats fruits, vegetables, but he doesn't like any chewable stuff. Can he take that?
How old is he?
11.
So usually under 12 is technically not an adult. Like from the prescriptive form, 12 and above is technically an adult. Do you know what he weighs? Roughly? Is he
100.
big? So an adult dose typically goes at around 150 pounds, is roughly what they're basing an adult dose on, which would be 2 pills twice a day. I think it would be safe for an 11-year-old to take 1 pill twice a day of all of these. I think it would be perfectly safe and perfectly acceptable. Even though technically dōTERRA probably wouldn't recommend these for children, an 11-year-old is right on the cusp of that adult dose that I think it would be fine. Yeah.
And that was really my question, because I'm not very big. I thought, do I need that much? I don't know. And it feels like too much some days, and things are moving too much some days, and so I think maybe when I cut it back, that was better, but I don't know if that's
Enough.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, your body has the ability to discharge or eliminate supplements in a different way than it does drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we need to worry too much about these if you're taking the regular adult dose and you're petite. You're not going to toxify yourself, I guess is what I'm saying. Your body's going to know how to eliminate what it doesn't need. A lot of this will be water soluble. And what's in here that is fat soluble, like the vitamin A and the vitamin D, E, and K, it's all in adequate doses, not going to cause any toxicity. And to me, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather have a little extra myself personally, knowing my lifestyle. A bunch of people know I was in Tokyo for 4 days at Christmas, and I hit the tarmac running and came back. And so when you've got an active, busy lifestyle like that, and you're traveling or you're doing lots of teaching with dōTERRA, and you're really building your business and you need more support, I don't think it would be, you know, it's not going to get toxic for you. However, I also tell people to listen to their own bodies. So I'm going to kind of qualify that statement. Sometimes it is going to be too much. Sometimes it is going to be too little. When you're really sick with a cold or flu, make sure you bump that up. I even think at convention, Dr. Hill recommended taking it a 3rd time a day. Am I right about that? I remember seeing him put 2 pills 3 times a day up on a slide. So this could be where dōTERRA is moving in terms of, you know, knowing what the science is behind what these supplements do and how they work with the average person. We might actually see people taking more Lifelong Vitality Pack than less. Yeah.
Vitamin D.
In general?
Yeah, just in general, do you feel that, I mean, I understand that the vitamin D is in the B and C, but also the omega.
Yep.
Yeah, so together, what is that, 1,000 IUs?
I think it's 800.
Well, 800 is in the omega.
Yeah.
And then
I'm just trying
I
to
was just looking at it. Yeah, I was just curious your opinion. So I know it varies up depending on where you live and of course person to person. Like my mom, of course, does a ton with MS.
So you're 1,600 milligrams or international units when
So
you
that's
combine
pretty-
this.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
No,
It's not enough? That's my question.
No.
What do you recommend?
Usually I have people doing liquid vitamin D drops on top of that. And so the dilemma with vitamin D is it is fat soluble and each person is an individual. So the recommended dose naturopathically as a blanket statement is 4,000 international units of vitamin D per day in total through all of your supplement forms, not necessarily food, just supplement forms, is what will protect you 44%. It decreases your risk for breast, lung, bowel, and I think it's prostate in men cancer by 44%, which is a pretty significant reduction in those cancers just by taking 4,000 IU of vitamin D per day. But there is a sweet spot in each person that we need to reach with vitamin D. So you can't get it tested anymore. Well, you can through me, and you can pay for it. But medical doctors in Alberta, I think they got their hands slapped because they were testing everybody. Everyone was deficient, and they wanted to know. It's about a $100 test. That's what it costs me to send you to Calgary Lab Services to get it done. So that's what it costs a medical doctor, or what it costs Alberta Medical Association to run that test. And they won't do it anymore. I literally can send my patients to the doc and say, tell them you've been taking 10,000 international units of vitamin D per day for a year, and you're worried you're toxic. You want to know your levels. They will not order the test. And they say they cannot order the test. They are inhibited from ordering the test now. So there's a sweet spot of vitamin D. Less than 80 is technically low. Higher than 235 or 300, 250, somewhere in that zone is too high. I actually think they're going to shift that reference range up to 400, maybe even 500 in the end, because I have never seen anybody toxic at those upper ends of what they call the technical reference range. But we want to know where there's a sweet spot in there where you should be.
Okay.
And so you need to be monitored.
Right.
Because if you still don't have enough, like I've had patients that take 10,000 international units of vitamin D per day for months, and they are still low after 6 months. They're still low. They're not absorbing it well.
Right.
Then we've got to find a different way for them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Either their source is off. You know, this brings up the source thing again. There are so many different sources of vitamins and minerals. The tablets, which are the cheapest in vitamins and minerals, right through the vitamin D, totally not absorbed. You pretty much eliminate that. You poop those out. So whatever you spend in that, you're flushing down the toilet. Gel caps as well, a little bit difficult to dissolve. You know, those little gelatin capsules, sometimes hard to digest. The best way to go is liquid.
Yeah.
So, and it's not that expensive. They're like $20 or $25 for the one drop is 1,000 international units. You're taking 4 or 5 of them a day.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months to a year, find a naturopath and get yourself tested and find out where you're at. And you should be somewhere around the 160 to 200 mark is the sweet spot that you want to be in. And then you know what you're taking kind of, 6 months later, test yourself again. And if that's still that 4,000 IU is keeping you in that sweet spot, stay on that. If it drops or if it goes too high, then you can adjust it. Okay?
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any special kind that you recommend getting?
So I like the pure encapsulations. That is the brand that I use because it's just coconut oil and vitamin D3. No other fillers, no other nothing. And Advanced Biotics is another company that does the same kind of thing. Most of the supplements that I carry in my office are also available at Cambrian Drugs, Vitamins First, and Script Pharmacy on the Cloud. Thank you. Yeah, I had to think about that one for a sec. So you can get these things either through a naturopath if you have one, or at one of the pharmacies that carries the naturopathic supplements. But you want to try and do the least toxified. Like, I don't actually support, I'm going to say this online, I'll be forever recorded saying this, I don't support Jameson, ever. They put sucralose, which is like an artificial sweetener, and aspartame in their chewable vitamin C tablets, and I will never support a company that toxifies its customers while pretending to be good for their health. That is just terrible. We trust these companies that if they're in a health food aisle or supposed to be vitamins good for us, that they won't be toxifying us, and this company does that, so I would never support them. And they'll have the cheapest vitamin D out there, but, I guess you get what you pay for.
This is not about the vitamin D. This is about the alpha CRS. So I just, I don't take it. I think it just, well, honestly, it makes me burp.
Okay. And you know that for sure because you've taken it all by itself.
I normally just take the vitamins and omegas. I don't know if it's the turmeric or not, but when I've taken turmeric before, it just, I don't know, I react to it somehow. It just makes me feel dry and itchy. So I just don't take it.
So I have patients that are allergic to sesame, and I have patients that are allergic to pine bark, and that's usually the culprit if it makes them itchy. The burping could simply be the combination of all three, not taken with a meal. Like I would suggest if you're burping it, take it with a meal. And I would start slow. So I personally have never had any patients that I've given this to that can't start right off the bat 2 pills twice a day of everything. Some people have come back to me though and said, I have a friend who can't do it. We can only do 1 pill. You can ease yourself in. Start with 1 of them and take 1 a day until you can do 2 a day, and then add the next one in. Take them with food.
I have the same.
You do?
Like I notice, but I find it's usually when I haven't taken it with enough water.
And the other part is it signifies to me, because it doesn't happen with the general population, that you might have something up with your digestion. You might have a dysfunctional digestive tract that needs.
I have autoimmune, so like for me to take tons of herbs, usually I have a reaction to herbs, and that's why the essential oils have worked so well for me. And this whole line that you have, but certain things like when I take this endocrine or the CRS or whatever, it's just a little too much, I think, for my system.
So ease yourself in until you're ready. Possibly need to do more detoxing. Possibly need to get that immune system less reactive if it's autoimmune before you can add more in. Again, listen to what your body tells you, but there should be no reason why eventually you couldn't be on the full dosage. Okay? Anybody else? I saw a couple of other hands that didn't.
Can you speak to vitamin D in children?
D in children or E in children?
D for children.
And what would you like to know?
Well, it seems to me the liquid would be really easy to sneak in there, right?
Absolutely.
But
It's
how
tasteless.
much?
Well, it all depends on the child, and I don't recommend it at in infancy. I actually see so many children diagnosed with gastroesophageal reflux disorder, GERD, and colic because they're taking vitamin D drops from birth. I was around a long time ago when I was a Leleche League leader when Leleche League came out and said, we actually need to start supplementing vitamin D to babies because they're not getting enough through the breast milk. We have to follow the American Pediatric Association. We need to be on board with all of this. And since then, I've seen digestive tracts in babies just totally dysfunctional. They can't digest it. Their bellies are totally made for breast milk. And so what is technically considered high in vitamin D is milk. That's why we've always said, feed your kids a glass of milk. It gets them their vitamin D as well as their calcium. Breast milk from the mom will have enough vitamin D in it for the baby. It has always been that way. We have not raised millennia children on breast milk that were vitamin D deficient. It comes through the mother because it's stored. So then if the mother's supplies are enough, then the baby will not need a vitamin D supplement. Now, if the baby is not breastfed, that's a completely different story because then they're not getting it through the breast milk. So you do need to supplement. And 400 international units is what we recommend for babies. Somewhere maybe up to 800 international units by the time they're a year or a toddler, and maybe 1,000 to 1,200 until they turn into adults, maximum. And the other part of this is that we need some vitamin K in here too. So I often, I don't know if vitamin K is in the vitamin mineral complex. Vitamin K actually takes the vitamin D and the calcium, they work together and they pull the calcium into the bones. If you don't have enough vitamin K, doesn't matter how much calcium and how much vitamin D you take, you're gonna plaque that out in your arteries, in your gallbladder, and in your kidneys because the calcium's gotta go somewhere without the vitamin K. So K is a really important thing to make sure you have in your diet somehow. It's high in green leafy vegetables, just not very well absorbed. It's in the vitamin mineral complex. You can take an extra vitamin K if you wanted to, and you can even find some of the pure encapsulations and other companies will make a K2 D3 supplement together so that you're getting enough vitamin D and vitamin K at the same time. Does that make sense? People who have high blood pressure and have hardening of the arteries, you can actually bring their blood pressure down by giving them vitamin K. It pulls the calcium out of the wrong spot and it puts it in the right spot. Same thing with kidney stones, same thing with gallstones. It'll pull it out of the wrong place and it deposits it into the bones in the right place. So we want to make sure we have a good balance of that. doTERRA has that in here, but if you wanted to add more, you could.
So if you're taking those and you have high blood pressure, you would have to monitor that too. So you might bring your medication
the CoQ10 that's in there, the alpha lipoic acid, the acetyl L-carnitine, and a little bit of K2 in there. It's potential that if high blood pressure can be caused by more than one thing. It can be hardening of the arteries, but it can also be stress, and it can be some kidney dysfunction. So if it's not hardening of the arteries, the K2 is not going to make that much of a difference. And bringing your stress levels down will. So it really depends on the cause of the high blood pressure. Heavy metal toxicity can be another reason. So there's some testing that sort of needs to be done for people that have high blood pressure. But if the calcium is part of the problem and has made the arteries hard and brittle, then the K2 can really help with that. You know, the funniest thing about cholesterol, I love this analogy, and some of my patients are here tonight listening, and they might have heard me talk about this. But who thinks cholesterol is sort of a bad thing? We've all been kind of told cholesterol is this terrible thing, right? Like, who wants high cholesterol? Does anybody here have high cholesterol? Yeah, people are sheepishly doing that. No one wants high cholesterol, right? Like, this is the thing. So if I was to tell you, if there was, okay, let's pretend I was walking down Stephen Avenue and a car bolted down Stephen Avenue and ran somebody over and knocked them over, and I know CPR, and I go and I help CPR and I save this person, and the police arrive and they charge me with the accident. Does that make sense? Am I at fault for the accident? Did I cause the accident? That's what's happened with cholesterol. Cholesterol has been vilified as this terrible thing that causes these cardiovascular events. It's just floating along, doing its job, making hormones, making vitamin D, because you need cholesterol to make vitamin D. It's just doing its job, and then it sees a cracked artery. And a cracked artery is caused from free radical damage, which the vitamin and mineral complex and the alpha CRS are going to prevent free radical damage. So if you've got this little cracked artery he's the bystander. Cholesterol is the little bystander that's floating by, and it goes, oh, I can fix that. I'll be a Band-Aid. I'll block it off till it heals. And then another one comes along that blocks it off. And it's been blamed for causing these hardening of the arteries. But then once it's there, the calcium has a nice little bed to settle out in. All this too much calcium from the wrong sources, and you get hardening of the arteries. The cholesterol is really not the problem. If you don't get cracked arteries to start with, you don't get little splits in the fragile lumen of the artery, then you're not going to get hardening of the arteries. So we've wound up in science and medical science has really vilified certain things that make absolutely no sense. When you know the biochemistry or the biophysiology, you kind of go, wait a minute, how did we believe this for so long? So yeah, I wouldn't be afraid of cholesterol. And only 20% of your blood cholesterol is related to what you eat. That's it. 80% is your liver. And cholesterol is the precursor to every hormone in your body. So if you're stressed out and you need more cortisol, eventually cholesterol is going to get converted into that. So your body is naturally going to produce a lot more if you need it. It's smart. Your liver goes, oh my gosh, this person's under stress, I better produce more cholesterol. If you're vitamin D deficient, because vitamin D is the precursor, or cholesterol is the precursor to making vitamin D, and you're deficient, the body goes, oh, better make a whole lot. Flood her system with it. Because any stray UVB ray that hits her skin, I want it to become vitamin D. So the body is smart. It's not defective in doing this sort of stuff. It's not primary caused by, your own genetics. It's more than likely because you're deficient in something else, and the body's trying to balance it out and figure it out. So you have to deal with the liver when you have high cholesterol. It also is high fructose corn syrup and gluten and flour and a couple of other things that we could talk about with diet. So combine all those things together, you can bring your cholesterol levels down. And if we get vitamin D levels right in people, as we're talking about vitamin D, they don't produce so much cholesterol, and the cholesterol comes down and normalizes. And again, blood pressure is improved. So there's like a whole mechanism that goes on here. And when you know how it all works, or if you have a naturopath or someone else that understands this biophysiology, you get to the root of the problem. You just don't medicate it, right? Okay, any other questions about vitamins?
I just want to ask about the children's vitamins, the dōTERRA, the A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
How do they compare to that set of 3? Like where would
They don't.
They don't. Like what? Like what are they? Then? You know what I mean? Like you explain
They're
all those
vitamins
3.
A to Z, but
Yeah.
they're formulated specifically for what children need with growing and healthy diets, but they don't have the same burden that we do in terms of toxic levels and the need to detoxify. And I'm going to qualify that and say that they probably actually do, and it will eventually happen for them.
Yeah.
But the premise is that children are healthier, they are more vital, they don't need what we need as adults for detoxing. They don't have as many years on the planet. They don't have as many stressors in their lives. And I know I'm saying that and going, my brain is going, yes, they do, yes, they do. They do. But nowadays, but the premise that the A to Z is built on, I think, is that children live healthier lives and don't require as much intervention as adults do.
So that plus the probiotic plus an omega.
Yep, it's all the children need. Mm-hmm. And I love that dōTERRA actually specially formulates the one for North America versus Asia versus other countries, because based on their diets, what they need. Yeah, I think that's just so smart. Right? Yep. And obviously, I'd like people to get things through their food. Like my primary choice is eat a healthy, nutritious diet. Okay? There is no good or bad food. There's just nutritious, healthy food and non-nutritious, non-nutritive food. So choose as much as possible. as much as possible. Almost every organic food has been contaminated in some way with a chemical, like it's not truly organic anymore, but it has a lower amount and it hasn't been directly sprayed. So, and the soils are not directly contaminated. So you're gonna get less of a body burden. We have a huge body burden for chemicals, which kind of ties nicely into segueing, thank you so much, into the cleanse. We have a huge need to detoxify, all of us. And some naturopaths that you go to see will do a whole bunch of testing on you. They'll test your heavy metals, they'll test your chemical pollutants, they'll test all sorts of these things before they decide to treat you. I'm not that naturopath. You all have it. You may as well spend your money in detoxifying, and if we don't get anywhere, then we'll test you and find out what specific one we missed, what specific chemical we missed, or what's not functioning right in you, because we all have these heavy metals. I grew up in the 70s. I'm going to have lead from leaded gasoline, from leaded paint. I'm going to have mercury because my dad actually brought it home from work and we played with it in our hands, like seriously. So, and we got it in our teeth. Dentistry had a lot of mercury at the time. So we're all toxified in heavy metals. We all have PCBs, dioxins. We all have flame retardants in us. We all have probably the last book I read in 2001 said we have more than 700 chemicals stockpiled in our bodies that cannot get out. They just don't even have a pathway out. Like Teflon. Teflon is a good one. So Teflon, what does water do in Teflon?
Beads.
It beads. So what is your body?
90% water.
So when you consume Teflon, because it gets into you from the food, your body has no way to make it water soluble to flush it out your kidneys because it's hydrophobic. It's the technical name for it. It doesn't like water and it repels water. So your body actually doesn't have a way of getting Teflon out of you.
You meaning plastic? You talking about
Teflon.
plastic?
Teflon, non-stick. Non-stick pans. Non-stick fry pans. Yeah. Hugely toxic for us. Flame retardants are another. Flying. Who flies? Yep. Flying is a huge source of flame retardants for us. We don't get them in North America in Canada from our new mattresses and our couches. Flame retardants were put in someone, I'm not entirely sure who decided that because people smoke and fall asleep smoking, we needed to protect our people from these people that would fall asleep smoking. So we made our beds flame retardant and we made couches flame retardant. We make babies' clothing flame retardant. And they're hugely toxic and we have no way of getting them out. They're another one that's they will come out and there's a drug that will pull them out, but it's not really pleasant and it's a long-term process and I wouldn't recommend it for children, but it can be done, but it's just really, really difficult. So we all have a need to detoxify what we can, and then there are things that we can work on in other ways. So we'll talk about the cleanse tonight, but I also recommend on the cleanse that you do some detoxifying in a sauna. Sauna work is amazing because you sweat the toxins out whole. They get pushed out your sweat glands and your little pores without actually having to go through your liver or your kidneys. So that is one of the ways that you can detoxify. Exercising will do the same kind of thing as long as you're sweating, but not many people I know can sweat like they sweat in a sauna when they're exercising. Like you want to be dripping sweat for 35 to 45 minutes. 150 hours as close together as possible will decrease your toxic load to almost zero. But that's daily for an hour for 5 months in a sauna. Yeah. And most people can't do it.
Does the infrared sauna have that same effect? What about like an Epsom salt spa?
Nope. No, that brings your core temperature up, but it doesn't make you sweat. Steam rooms do. No. It's not the drawing process of salt. It's actually this drawing. If you have salt in water, it's going to draw water out of you. It's not drawing the toxins out. It's drawing the water out of you. So it will actually dehydrate you to bathe in salt water. What happens with your fingers? They go all wrinkly because it's pulling the water out of you. So sweating is a little bit different. It's not just drawing, it's increasing your core temperature. The infrared rays penetrate about 1 inch into the skin, mobilizing the fat cells, which is where we store the toxins. And it actually kind of irritates them, and they liberate the toxins as you sweat. So you drink hot water in the sauna to make you sweat more, kind of like being in a lot of tropical countries. They tell you to drink tea to sweat, to cool down. So the body goes, oh, I'm so hot. Drink water, sweat. You wipe the sweat off. As soon as you start to sweat, you wipe it off, and the body goes, oh, she just got rid of my cooling mechanism. More sweat. And then the more you wipe off and the hot water you drink, the more you promote the sweat, the more you push out, and the more you become detoxified. And this is an important part of doing cleansing. But so is this cleanse that is on your sheets today. This is going to help you in so many ways. So I've seen lots of different versions of this. There's a great colorful one that I like that kind of blocks it out into week 1, and then what you add at week 2, and then what you add at week 3. This is sort of very much the same. You activate, you reset, and you renew. The first, I'm going to say that the Terrazyme, the Zendocrine complex, and the lemon in your water. And what you need to add onto the bottom of this is Lifelong Vitality Pack. That is the thing you take. These are what you take for the full 30 days. You start with them and you continue them. There are many variations of this cleanse. I will give you a couple of them today, but this one will follow what's here written for you. So the Terrazyme, if we look at that, why would we take that during a cleanse? So aside from saunaing, following this cleanse, I also recommend a really clean diet. Lighten your diet up. No processed food, no dairy, no gluten, and no sugar. Really is not that bad. I know, or flour. Well, flour would be gluten wheat.
This is gluten-free.
If it's gluten-free, it's fine. It would be absolutely
I
fine.
have a question about the sauna. Does it have to be like a dry sauna or?
Okay, so dry saunaing, the temperature is about 120 degrees that you need it at. To achieve the same sweating results in a wet sauna, in one of the old saunas, is about 185 to 230 degrees. And that is unbearable for most people. And that's why saunaing kind of fell out of favor with a lot of people. Especially, how many people in the room here, if we're going to talk saunas for another couple seconds, how many people can sweat? Really liberally. Like you just pour sweat when you get into a hot sauna or when you exercise. Okay, if you could look around, like not many people put up their hands. Most people who are the most toxic actually can't sweat. The toxins block the sweat glands. So you basically get in the sauna and you feel terrible because you feel like you're a turkey in the oven getting cooked from the inside out, and you can't sweat. You can't get anything out. You can't regulate your body temperature. So you have to start slow. So to go into a wet sauna, one of the old ones at 200 degrees, you would feel horrible in there. But most people can do the dry sauna at 120. I mean, if you think about being in Phoenix, in Arizona, it can get to be that in the summer, right? You might not stay out there for too long, but if you could use that like your detox, right? So, okay, so that's sauna taken care of. Plants.
Yes.
So, you're going to lighten your diet up, and you're going to take some enzymes because it helps you digest your food. We have, who knows what the organs of elimination are? Can you shout out a few?
Liver, kidneys,
kidneys, skin. Liver, kidneys, skin, lungs, and
Bladder?
bowels.
Oh,
Your bowels, your intestines, right? I know it's the biggest one, and well, no, the skin is the biggest one, then the bowels. And I'm going to add your blood needs to be cleansed, and your lymphatics need to be cleansed. So those are kind of they're not necessarily organs of elimination, but they're other areas we store toxins. Fat and adipose is another place we store toxins. And that's why sweating and the sauna helps, because it gets rid of it from the subcutaneous fat, stimulates it and pushes it out. Okay? So when you lighten your diet load and you're gluten-free and you're dairy-free and you're sugar-free and you're eating lots of vegetables, at least half your plate is vegetables, whether they're steamed or raw, and you have small amounts of organic chicken or some fish and legumes, beans, and maybe a small amount of a potato or starch or something like that, gluten-free, your body will be able to cleanse the bowels quite nicely. And the Terrazyme is going to help with the digestion, and when you lighten that load, then the liver has less to do. So the liver and the bowels will function much better, and they'll get rid of a lot more of the toxicity in your body. When they're overburdened with a processed diet and you try to do this cleanse, you're like shooting yourself in the foot. There's really not necessarily a point in eating the standard American diet that might be still full of Doritos and Coke and Diet Coke or whatever it is, and doing your cleanse. That sort of defeats the purpose, because your liver and your bowels are going to be so busy taking care of that, it won't matter what you do pill-wise. So you got to lighten the load. And by taking the enzyme, you're assisting those organs to do more of the detoxing. So that's why that's in there the whole time, the whole 30 days. Then the Zendocrine is also in there for the full 30 days. Zendocrine, there are two different types of Zendocrine. Everybody knows that, right? We've got the Zendocrine capsules that have a lot to do. They're herbal. This is a herbal support for all 5 of those organs of elimination. So it's going to support them to dump more toxicity, to function better. The Zendocrine essential oil blend are specific essential oils to help the kidneys and the liver, specifically. The rosemary helps the liver, the juniper helps the kidneys, the tangerine helps the overall system to detoxify and is very much related citrus to the kidneys. So we're going to help liver and kidneys with the oil to eliminate more toxins. We're going to assist them to push out what your body's going to want to push out. And then this one as well is heavily detoxifying to all the organs. So there's a great page. How many people have access to the PIP, the product information page?
You can access them digitally.
Yeah. So on the back of this one about Zendocrine, I love this little chart here. It tells you which herbs do what. So you can actually know.
And that's
that,
on the website?
Yeah. The barberry and milk thistle and burdock are great for the liver, but burdock is also a blood cleanser. So this is where I'm talking about some of these herbs actually have more than one function. They're going to cleanse the blood as well as the organs.
Okay.
Clove, dandelion, garlic, and red clover. Red clover also is a huge blood cleanser and lymphatic cleanser. If we go to the kidneys, the Turkish rhubarb stem, and it's also a bowel cleanser. So we've got some crossover here between the colon and the kidneys. Burdock as well will affect the kidneys, clove, bud, and dandelion. There's psyllium husk, which binds things. So as your body's pushing them out, the psyllium acts like a sponge kind of and grabs hold of it, and it expands the bowel. When the bowel gets expanded, you get more peristalsis and you have better, more effective, more satisfying bowel movements.
Can I question that just to anyone who's wondering?
Yeah.
My husband quit smoking a year ago, and right after he quit smoking, I put him on those 2 things. And he said, part of my frankness, he said stuff was coming out of him that he couldn't wait. Like, he's like, get me more of that, because I just keep going.
Yeah, so it's a very effective kind of almost like a scrub to the bowel, and it'll grab hold of what you're shedding and getting rid of, and then you effectively flush it out. Because the bowel is actually quite good at reabsorbing things. So if you get constipated, you are actually, like estrogen in a woman's body can be recycled up to 10 times if her bowels aren't functioning properly. So she has estrogen in her body. We sometimes have too much estrogen in our body from bad sources like plastics and phthalates and perfumes and things like that. And your body might try and flush it out the liver and gallbladder, and it winds up in your bowel. If you're not having an effective bowel movement and getting rid of that, the longer it sits, it'll get reabsorbed again. And then it'll go through that whole, and it'll act on your breast tissue and your uterine tissue and your ovarian tissue, which could potentially cause cancer. And then your body will get rid of it again, and if it sits in a bowel that's not moving, it'll get reabsorbed again. So you can actually keep recycling these things. So having good, solid, not solid, but like satisfying bowel movements, right? That's going to flush it out, and you're going to get rid of the toxic excess in your body. So that's why that's in there. Marshmallow root, acacia gum, they're all very soothing to the digestive tract. OSHA is in sunflower for the lungs, but OSHA is also a very strong lymphatic detoxifier. So again, your lymphatic system is sort of a system that runs beside your veins that collects, it's like the sewer system of your body. Your body dumps a lot of its toxicity into the lymphatic system. And then that winds up in your kidneys, and your kidneys gets rid of that the next morning, usually. The lymphatic system is most active at night. And then you got kelp and the milk thistle and the burdock and the clove and the garlic all help the skin as well to detoxify. You know, you can smell garlic on you, pushes it out your skin. So yeah, that's one of the things that, one of the reasons garlic is in there. So, yeah.
Is Zetapin one of the ones that you get when you buy
In
your
the kit.
when you buy the LV, you can get all these other ones half. It's about half price.
I don't know if it's this
No,
one or if it's the gel cap
Just the other
Zetapin.
three. It's the, I know it's PB Assist and the TerraZyme.
Amy?
Sure.
Can you remember when you do LLV as the on your when you order it
Yeah.
monthly?
Yeah.
On the Love Your Reward program.
Just
Is Zendocrine one of the supplements? I know TerraZyme and
Oh,
PB
is it
are
an add-on?
is an add-on. Is it one?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I can't remember.
I don't know unless I get on, and my computer's right there, but I can try on my phone.
So those two supplements plus and this one we do just for the first 10 days. So the oil just kind of goes in for the first 10 days, but the pills stay in for the full 30 with the TerraZyme. Yes.
I heard it said that one of those is the one that kind of gathers the toxins in our body, and then the other one is responsible for kind of like excreting it and getting rid of it. Does that make sense from?
I don't think you could say one or the other, but together, that's what they're both doing. I'd rather think of it like the oil is actually opening up those drainage organs. The oil is actually stimulating the kidneys and getting them on a cellular level to get ready to detox. And then the herbs are going to push the organs to push the toxins out. So the oil is kind of prepping the organs to get ready for the elimination. And then the Zendocrine that you're taking is actually pushing the liver, pushing the skin, pushing it all together.
So you did the oil, but then you didn't do the complex. It kind of
Yeah, you're just
more
you're just
saline.
ramping up the function of the kidney and the liver. You're just getting them functioning better, but you're not actually pulling the toxins or asking the organs to push the toxins out.
So it's not.
It's not one of the
It's not
ones.
an extra for some reason. I think it's on.
TerraZyme and PB Assist and deep blue polyphenols are, but Zendocrine is not.
It's
on
not.
that. Okay, so then we look at the next thing, lemon oil in water. You can start your mornings with some lemon oil in water, warm water, great purge for the liver, great cleansing. So that's kind of how we start our day. And then for the full 30 days, you'll take your TerraZyme with your meals that are now light and easy to digest. And you'll also take the Zendocrine every single day. Okay? Then we look at adding a few different things in here. The Zendocrine oil for the first 10 days. Then the next 10 days, we do the GX Assist, which this is the big gun for yeast and parasites in your bowel.
Is that why it gives you like cramps when you're
It
doubled over?
can if it's too strong for you. The caprylic acid works very well. The oil of oregano works very well that's in here. So it's quite strong detoxifier. And as your body, if you kill off all those bad guys, the creatures, the yeasts and the parasites, it can sometimes make the bowel crampy because it's now got an extra load to flush this out. It might also, when those creatures die, it creates a little bit more inflammation in the body as they're dying. So we get what we call a die-off reaction, which can come anywhere from gas and bloating to extreme fatigue, nausea. Some people vomit. Some people feel like they've got the flu. And other people get more headaches. It's very individual.
So just push through it.
It's not.
Reach out.
It's not pleasant,
No, it's
but it
not.
doesn't happen to everyone either. Some people it doesn't happen to. So that's day 10 or 11 for the next kind of 10 days. And then dōTERRA recommends adding the PB Assist at that point so that you've killed off all the bad guys and then you add in the good guys to repopulate with the territory that's been left open by the dead guys dying.
So while on the cleanse, we're not taking PB Assist until those last days.
That is what this one tells you.
Okay.
So when I told you about how I do this in different ways sometimes, I usually say people are on PB Assist the whole 30 days. If not forever and ever on that. And I usually tell them to up the PB Assist. So if you're taking PB Assist as part of your regular plan with your Lifelong Vitality Pack, instead of doing 1 a day, you'll do 2 a day. Because you're purging and you're creating space in the gut where these creatures were before these parasites, you want to send a good population in to set up a good home.
Do you take it away from the GX Assist?
Yes, so I would not take it with the GX Assist because you're only taking the GX Assist. Yeah, is 1 pill twice a day. 1 pill. Oh, I usually have people take 1 pill twice a day. Oh yeah, so with the meal, the AM and the noon meal. So and then do your PV Assist at night and take 2 of them.
Oh, so don't have it at the same time, like
Yeah.
day as well.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Just at the same time. You can take them like in the same protocol, but just at different times. And I think it does say that here.
It does.
And they recommend 3 capsules, but it depends on how many you want to take. I usually just do 2 for people. They're very well encapsulated. They get delivered right to the small intestine. They're very, very effective, so I don't always think people need more. But if you're already taking 2 of them a day, then you're going to have to up it. Or if you're taking 1 of them a day, you're going to have to up it.
I have a question. For someone who, say, like myself, or someone who's has an autoimmune disease, taking all of this could be very overwhelming on the system. So what do you suggest when they need to start out slow? Like what is the safest? Because like detox system, like I've experienced that, and it can be very overwhelming. So what's a way to start out that's safe for people?
So this is another way that I do this cleanse, is because this is only for 30 days, but most of my patients who've been with me know that I do anti-candida cleansing like this. It's 9 to 12 weeks. And you sort of build up to it. So you would probably start with the Zendocrine liquid for several weeks, and then you would add in 1 of the Zendocrine pills if you can tolerate it. And then you would probably take GX Assist, and you alternate that every week with something different, because yeast can adapt, like bacteria can adapt, and so we don't want to give it the same thing all the time. So in my 9 to 12 week cleanse, GX Assist is rotated with 2 other supplements. Every week you're taking something different, but in a 3-week cycle. So week 1, 2, and 3 are different, but week 4, 5, and 6 are a repeat of week 1, 2, and 3. So that you can confuse the yeast, and you can confuse the parasites, and you can get rid of them faster and more effectively and more long term. So it's longer.
That was a very simple explanation for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you just drag it out. You go longer. You take less and you go longer. So this is like intense, 30 days. I would like repeat this for at least 3 more cycles, and I would have another supplement in here, and you would ease yourself into it. So you wouldn't start out with the maximum dose that's recommended here right at the beginning. You would ease yourself into it until by the end you were at the maximum doses, and you would have another supplement or 2 that you would be adding in if you were my patient. So the long and the short is that there is no, like, I understand that people who are really sick, and you ease yourself through it, but you have to get through it. It's like you said, or someone said here, you have to just persevere and get through it. There is no magic bullet that's going to be gentle, that's going to restore your immune system. There is no magic bullet that one day someone with an autoimmune disorder is going to be able to eat every kind of food on the planet, be exposed to any kind of, pesticides and herbicides. Autoimmune patients have a lifelong chore ahead of them to protect their bodies and restore their bodies. And it is lifelong. And it sucks. I'm not saying it's nice, and it sucks to have an autoimmune disorder. And I see people with autoimmune disorders in my clinic daily. It is the latest thing that's happening. More and more things like vertigo and like eczema are now autoimmune. They're not just eczema. They're not just positional vertigo. They're really related to food allergies is one of the bottom lines. So when I have patients with autoimmunity, we find out what their food allergies are. And then they have to eliminate their food allergies. And then they do a 9 to 12 week cleanse like this, but with other dietary restrictions and this. So this is one way. And then there's my way. And then there's lots of other ways that you can do this cleanse. You can modify it to suit you. Either way, at least 30 days is going to be a benefit to you. And if you start out strong and you have some die-off reactions, then slow down. Make it 6 weeks instead of 30 days. Like, listen to your body, but, at least do it once and get started and try, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, would it be gentler on the body if you started with taking the dairy, sugar, and gluten out of your diet for an amount of time and go through the withdrawal with that before you put the supplements into your body? Instead of doing it all at once, like?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The experience I have is that is not, that could just drag it out actually. Because the supplements actually help the organs open up to get rid of more of the die-off reactions. So while it can be intense, it's shorter lived than if you extend that.
Like an example would be the cravings. If you don't do the supplements along with the elimination of those foods, you still have the cravings. Whereas if you eliminate the yeast or eliminate them, the cravings stop, right?
And the headache. So if you think of a headache, if you're taking the supplements and opening the organs and drinking better water and having the lemon, your headaches will be less. But if you just, if you're not doing the supplements, the headaches that go with food with elimination or withdrawal can be quite intense and can last a long time.
Could we all just go live in one place and do this all together?
With
a cook, yeah.
There are places like that exist.
Yeah, and I have a chef and have it and have no medication. Where we can sweat.
Yeah, and you can meditate and do yoga and the whole thing. Brilliant.
That'd be nice. We'll all find out. See?
We'll talk to dōTERRA executives at the next session, right? We need to offer a retreat. 30-day retreat. Who knows? They might come up with that. At a convention, they were talking about that 40,000, 100,000 square foot medical premise that they're building. Maybe they're going to have a retreat center in there.
Be smart.
We can hope. Who knows? Yeah. Okay, so the other product that's added to the cleanse is DDR Prime. But this tends to be a product that I have patients on regularly. So this, with the Lifelong Vitality Pack, their probiotic, and this and Deep Blue Polyphenols is their regimen. This is what I have patients on.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So Lifelong Vitality Pack, probiotics, Deep Blue Polyphenols, the companion product to the Deep Blue Rub, because it's all anti-inflammatory, and every disease is inflammation, and then DDR Prime. But I tend to have them, when they're doing all of that, they only take one a day. But everything that's in here has been shown to be anti-cancer and potent antioxidants. So they're going to support your DNA, they're going to support that mitochondria, they're going to help the body sweep out those cells that have gone a little bit off. And so, to me, this is something that everyone needs. So and you might have sensitive patients or people that can't do this all the time. So again, you have to watch and see. And some of us get sensitive over time. We don't start out sensitive, and we get sensitive to something over time, and then we have to actually watch what we take internally too. So oils are a very potent medicine, and you don't have to do them all the time, but they will benefit you if you can. Okay?
So how is that different from alpha CRS?
Well, because the alpha CRS, it is botanical and nutrient. So there are botanical extracts and polyphenols and targeted nutraceuticals, alpha lipoic acid, quercetin, they're nutraceuticals, designed to help the mitochondria have energy and then to support detoxification and cleaning of your body. This is just, the oils are very high in ORAC value. The ORAC value is their antioxidant capacity, and antioxidants are what quench free radicals. Free radicals are what are created by pesticides, pollution, stress, aging in general produces free radicals. So you're going to quench your free radicals by taking DDR Prime. And if you have cancer, it is anti-cancer, and it will prevent cancer if you have cancer that runs in your family. In my opinion, this is preventative medicine.
Will it help if you have cancer, did you say?
Yeah, for sure. I think I get to say that, but I'm not sure anybody else is allowed to say that.
I just gave some this week to Perkins things. Yeah, I gave her the DDR capsules and the liquid.
And so naturopath, as a naturopath, I know it's less money and it's less effort to prevent cancer and other diseases than it is to treat them once they arrive.
Absolutely.
So now is the time. Don't wait. Don't wait till you actually need a reason to do these things. Get started and support yourself. And then you can live a life, which I think is what doTERRA, in my opinion, is all about, whether it's through the business side of things or the oils or the supplements. It's about giving you the wealth, health-wise, and freedom to do what you love in life. And with your health, you will have that freedom. I think most people would say that if you don't have your health, you don't have much. So prevention is the key, in my opinion, as a naturopath, to being well and having the life of your dreams, the life that you really, really want. Okay, any questions about the 3 different versions of the cleanse? 5 different versions of the cleanse that I do. Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys, you have more question. Okay, so again, what if they say like, oh, I can't afford all this, right? Because I can't convince, if everybody has a budget, right? So they're like, okay, well, I'll just go slow. And so what would I suggest? Because I'd suggest, well, you start with your food, count this and this and this, and then do the lifelong vitality pack, because that will help
Yeah, I think that the cleanse could come as a follow-up to being involved in taking good care of their health. Like, obviously, eating healthy, as I said, no vitamin or mineral or vitality pack is ever going to replace a good diet, a healthy diet. So by taking care of their diet and making healthy choices, they're going to better their health. It depends on who you are. I'm allowed to coach someone like that. Some people are not allowed to coach people like that because you haven't been trained as a dietitian or something like that. You can make these suggestions. They can come to classes. They can learn more about Lifelong Vitality Pack, and you can suggest that they take it. It's good for everyone, except for little children, right? We don't have children taking it. But what I tell people about, the interesting thing, because I get to see this all the time, no one walks through my door and says, I want to spend a lot of money and I want to take a lot of pills. No one says that, right? But the deal is that you have choices. I have can't tell you the number of times people have come to me and said, I'm so sorry, Dr. Perkins, I can't take the supplements you recommended. I just got back from my 2 weeks in Hawaii with my husband and I just can't afford it. And I'm like, you made your choice. That was a choice. Everybody has choices. And we all drive vehicles. At least most of us have cars. And we put fuel in our cars, the appropriate fuel. We get oil changes when it's necessary. We change out the tires. We do tune-ups. We put the money into a car, but me? Put money into me? Oh, no. No, I can run for my lifetime without needing any oil changes, needing no cleanses, needing no support. I'm just going to go. You can't do that and expect to get no diseases in this world, in this life, anymore. Maybe our ancestors, when there were no chemicals and they lived their stress. So stress is a big thing for us. It really, really impedes our body to digest food, to eliminate toxins, to function properly. And we live in a chronic state of stress all the time now. Our stress system was meant to either catch the creature we were supposed to eat or be caught by the creature chasing us, and our life ended. And we were meant to have stress for that amount of time, and then it went away. And then you increased and you ramped yourself up and you went for a really long sprint because you were chasing that rabbit for dinner, and then it was calm. And we don't do that anymore. You back out of your driveway, you slip on the road, grocery clerk doesn't treat you nicely, your colleague at work. Apparently we are genetically designed the same way now as we were 5,000 years ago. And 5,000 years ago, the experts say we knew 25 people in our whole lifetime. Our nervous systems were designed to live with 25 people. That's all we knew. I see 25 people on social media when I wake up, let alone the rest of my day and cars and shopping malls and Tokyo and other things like that. You're bombarded. Our nervous systems. Totally. And so we're compromised to begin with. We have an obligation. If you want to live in that world and you want to eat Cassis Bistro and sushi and you want to eat out and you want to go dancing and you want to have some fun and you want to do these things in life that are eat movie popcorn and you want to do this kind of stuff that's fun, you have a bigger obligation to cleanse and to support yourself. You can't get away without it anymore. I love it when patients will say to me, every time I eat gluten, I gain weight. They hate that. They want me to get rid of that for them. Every time I eat sugar, I gain weight. I'm like, great. You have an outward sign that this isn't good for your body, and you are listening. I feel sorry for the people that come to me and say, I don't know how this happened. I haven't been sick in 15 years, and I've just been diagnosed with cancer. They've had no cues. They haven't seen, they haven't heard, they haven't listened to their bodies. They've had no cues. They haven't known they needed to take care of themselves, and boom, they get slammed with MS, or they get slammed with something. And they think it just snuck up out of the blue. Well, actually, it's been coming for a very long time, but you weren't listening to the cues, or you didn't get the signal like the person who gains weight. Weight tends to be one of those things that women are very sensitive to. And so we tend to we tune into it a lot more. The scale goes out of whack. We're like, darn, I can't eat that thing. Perfect, because you probably shouldn't be eating it anyways. It's causing inflammation, which is causing you to retain water, or it's causing you to lose minerals. And when your minerals can't work, then you're actually going to store toxins, and your body's going to pack that into the adipose tissue because it's safer than putting it into vital organs. So weight tends to be something that we don't like and no one likes to talk about, but it actually can be a good signal to us women that we're either toxic or we need to do more work on ourselves. So that was a really long-winded way of answering kind of your question. Yeah, I am passionate about this. There is no way to avoid it. So the people that come to you that say, I can't afford it, you say, actually, you can't afford not to. You don't have to do this every day of your life, but once a year you need to find a way, like you would go away on holidays, or you would indulge in your Haagen-Dazs ice cream, or you would, whatever you're going to do, you need to find a way to do this, even if it's just once a year. I'd say it needs to be more than once a year.
And I like what Dr. Hill said, probably you're going to say, is like basically you're going to be taking a fistful of pills one way or another. It's just, is it proactive or reactive?
And when it's reactive, you've lost your health. When it's proactive, you can take that handful of pills and have a great life and keep going and extend how good your life can be. Versus when you're taking that handful when you've got a disease already, you're living, you're not happy. Your life will not be happy for a while until you can either reestablish health or it totally dissolves on you. Yep, I agree with him on that.
Christine, I came in late. You might have covered this already, but what age do you recommend that kids turning into teens, turning into adults start taking LLV?
I think 12 years old, and it depends on their need. And we talked about a 12-year-old, and if they're slight, like 100 pounds, that they do half the dose.
And a question about Terra greens. Do you need, if you're taking Terra greens, or should you not, or
it's not technically considered on the cleanse. It's going to be very detoxifying to the bowel on a regular basis. Another insurance policy when you're not eating 100%. So for some people that have that are business, they fly a lot, or they travel, or they're just in hotels and they're eating not very good food, taking Terrazyme every day can really supplement them to get that nutrition that they need. And it also keeps their bowels moving. I like it for travel for that reason, because a lot of people when they travel, their bowels kind of seize and they get constipated and then they don't eliminate great. So the Terra Greens really helps a lot of my patients keep their bowels moving nicely. And it gives them nutrition. It gives them the nutrition from the greens. Okay. Is there anything else? I think I've probably talked way beyond my hour.
Oh, I think we all loved it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll say goodbye to you guys and the web. Thanks so much for joining us.